Right. Hello, Em. Good morning. Today is the 8th of February, 2019, and I want to wish you welcome. You're invited to spend some time with me, and we can explore what's going on in my life, what I'm finding interesting, and what I'm passionate about right now. And thank you for joining me. Um, One thing I've really been enjoying lately is fruit. Yeah. Um, I've been, um, last night, I went to the grocery store and I picked up some fruit. I picked up a miniature watermelon and some pears. Were Bartlett pears. And man, I enjoyed both of them this morning for breakfast, and wow, they were just amazing. There's something about refrigerated fruit. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but chilled fruit or refrigerated fruit is just out of this world. Now, fruit at normal room temperature is just fine, right? It tastes wonderful, but fruit that's been refrigerated, right? It's got that cooling effect on your mouth, that sweet and um, acid flavor on your tongue that's refrigerated. I mean, just really nothing surpasses it. I'm really like, for example, I had a watermelon this morning, and essentially what I did is it was one of those green watermelons that was personal sized, right? It wasn't the big ones. It was personal sized, and it had no seeds in it, no big black seeds. It was a seedless watermelon. Now it had the smaller white seeds, which are fine. I mean, I have no problem eating those smaller white seeds at all. It's the big black ones that are a problem, and this watermelon had none of those in there. These personal seedless watermelons, come on. You have to realize when I grew up as a kid, there were only the big watermelons with the big black seeds in them. That's all the watermelons there were. I don't know when these seedless watermelons started coming up on the scene. Clearly, they're the result of amazing genetic modification, GMOs, or I don't know what they are. They maybe I don't know how they've managed to pull the seedless watermelon rabbit out of the hat, but they did. And it was wonderful. I just had an amazing watermelon tasting experience this morning. And I tried something that I did a little experiment. I put a packet of Splenda sugar on top of the watermelon. It didn't do it for me. I think maybe next time what I'll have to do is I'll have to try a packet of regular sugar on the watermelon to see if it enhanced the flavor. But I'll tell you, the flavor did not need enhancing. It was pretty amazing. It was really wonderful. And the pears this morning, I had pears. Now, there are a lot of different kinds of pears. There's Bosc pears, and there's so many kinds. Um, Asian pears. But I think I have had some Bartlett pears, and they were so good. I bought the pears. They were, just firm enough to give underneath a thumb press, and they were exquisite this morning. So I've been really enjoying these experiences with fruit lately. And what's gotten me interested in fruit? I don't know. I'll tell you, what, I here's what's gotten me interested in fruit. I I've recently been making a lot of baked goods, cakes, cupcakes. In fact, I've got an angel food cake in the refrigerator. It's ready to go. And sometimes I'll frost these cakes with frosting, and I've really been enjoying the frosting and the sprinkles that I've been using to frost the cakes. And I must admit that I've been eating some frosting too, just straight out of the can, straight out of the jar, right? Which is great. I love, there's something about frosting that really draws me magnetically to it. And I love frosting. It's like candy for me. And I have noticed, and I mentioned it in the past, where I think I was becoming too free with the frosting. And so I'm cutting that out just for a time. And I'm replacing that with fruit. And I'm really enjoying my fruit experiences. I've got wonderful apples, pears, oranges, watermelons. I'm going all out. Blueberries, strawberries. These are my I've been enjoying with fruit, and I've been having some outstanding experiences enjoying fruit, and I can't wait for more. And what's amazing to me is how good for you fruit is. It enhances my health the more I eat it. What a gift from nature that we can experience this wonderful fruit in so many ways, in smoothies, as a topping on a cake. We can make cobblers, a fruit cobbler. There's so many ways to eat fruit, in yogurt, even in jello, in gelatin. There are really an infinite ways to enjoy fruit. And to think that it's so good for you. One of the fruits I have is actually, it's a fairly strong staple in my diet, are raisins and cranberries. Dried raisins, dried cranberries. And the reason is because that they're so portable. These raisins and cranberries, I can easily put them into a box lunch or box dinner, and they transport easily, and they always taste good, and they're available. And so it's just, I don't know, when I think about how amazing fruit is and how good it is for you, it really is an amazing sort of blessing that we have it. And I don't think I would like more praising of fruit in my life. That's for sure. Okay, so what else has been going on? Well, I've been enjoying using my iPad Pro. First of all, why? I don't know. It's just fun. It's more fun for me to do computing on my iPad Pro than it is to do it on my laptop or even my smartphone for some reason. I'm not sure why it's so fun. But I've been experimenting with using Google Keep on my iPad Pro as a way of enhancing my productivity, and it's something I'm really excited about. Using the Pomodoro technique along with the to-do lists that I can create in Google Keep. And what's great about Google Keep is that it allows you to use subordinate tasks, which provides grouping. You can group tasks, your to-do lists, into project headings, and this ability to create projects on the fly with scores of to-do list items underneath. I think that's going to be a game changer. Certainly, along with the Pomodoro technique, where I use a stopwatch to sort of to clock my activity Set limits on it and focus during that time period. I don't know. I think it's going to be a game changer. And the fact that Google Keep sort of I've got that software on all of my devices, my smartphone, my laptop, my tablet. I think that's going to be a game changer too. And if I can sort of integrate Google Keep with Google Calendar, wow. Now you're talking about just a powerful personal productivity system that's just unmatched. The only thing I'll need to do is sort of make sure that I use it. That's always the struggle, right? It's the decision to spend time using the personal productivity system. There are amazing personal productivity systems out there. We just have to sort of make sure that we spend time using them, right? Yeah. So recently I've been reading an amazing, truly amazing book. The book is called Appreciative Inquiry. And Appreciative Inquiry is, I guess, how would I describe it? It's a way of having conversations that are meaningful and that are worth having. And I'm really enjoying this approach to conversations. And what Appreciative Inquiry has done is that it has introduced me to 5 principles of conversation that I might as well go through it right now. I memorized them last night. So one of the principles is the constructivist principle, and that is that your reality is created through our conversations with others and with ourselves. I've talked in the past about this idea of narrative and how important it is, how narrative really does construct your world. It builds your world. It's how you acknowledge the world and how you interact with the world. You interact with it through your narrative. And I'm all about this idea of building a conscious narrative and constructing your reality through your conversations, particularly conversations with yourself, using inner dialogue and using your inner voice. And so I think it's important to become intentional about creating your own reality through your narrative. So that's the constructivist principle. And then there's simultaneity, or the simultaneity principle. And that's the principle describes or sort of points to this idea that that your world can change or turn on a single question, that it's instantaneous. You can have a change in your reality at the point when a question is asked. A question is what focuses your attention, and questions focus your attention instantaneously. So, for example, I might ask, "What's the weather outside?" Immediately, my brain will focus on the weather. Well, it may not be immediately, but it might take 1 or 2 milliseconds, maybe a half a second. My brain switches to focus on the weather when I ask, "What's the temperature outside?" Then my brain will begin to focus on guessing what the temperature is outside. Right now, I'm guessing it's probably about 45 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It's pretty cold. It's been cold lately. Notice what you're noticing is an example of the simultaneity principle, where I ask a question about the temperature, and then lo and behold, my brain starts spitting out answers. Oh, it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And oh boy, it's been cold lately. Have you noticed Did you notice as soon as I asked those questions, my brain just started going on this whole tangent about the weather? And that's what's so great about the simultaneity principle, is that for every question you have, the response from your brain is nearly instantaneous. And so what that offers, what benefit that offers, is relief. In fact, it's hope. It's hope that if I'm in a bad mood, I can change that bad mood instantaneously just by changing the questions that I ask in the moment. And so that right there is like a Band-Aid, right? It's like a relief from emotional pain. I mean, I can offer myself that relief immediately. I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait hours or days for the medicine to work, right? It can be instantaneous. In fact, if I'm experiencing happiness and joy in any one moment, I can, through use of the simultaneity principle, asking the right questions, I can enhance the feelings of enjoyment and pleasure in the moment. And I don't have to wait an hour or a day or a week for my attention to kick in. So that's the simultaneity principle. The third principle of the five is the poetic principle. And this has to do with the subjectivity of experience and how there's not only one perspective that one can take about a certain person or event. In fact, there are an infinite number of perspectives one can take about any person or event or situation. And knowing that is important because it describes the relativity of our world, the nature of interpretation, the nature of perspective. And that's what this poetic principle describes. It describes how it's not about the person. It's not about the situation. It's about the story that you create poetically, say, around the person and the situation. It's about the perspectives you take. And this, which is wonderful about this principle, this poetic principle, is that it highlights the idea that it's not about the other person and it's not about you. It's not about yourself. It's never about you, and it's never about the other person, and it's never about the situation. This is a really powerful idea. Quite often, a lot of our lives are caught up in judgment and blame, right? There's this idea that, oh, I know what the problem is, right? And the problem is that person, right? It's the situation that we're in. Or you might say it's the system, right? Or maybe it's a problem with people. They're so evil or whatever. It's never that. It's never the other person. It's also never yourself, right? Maybe it's the story you're telling yourself. I think it's really illuminating, this idea. Yeah, it's really illuminating. And it has the power. It's really empowering, because what it means is that we're the master of our story. If we're the master of our story, we can be the master of our reality. And what that means is it can be a relief from emotional pain, and also it's an avenue toward creating happiness. Yeah. And what's interesting is that you don't have to change your external reality, which can be tough. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of energy and time and thoughtfulness to change your external reality. What if you could be happy and not change that reality? Yeah. Okay, so the next principle is is principle number 4, if I can recall what it is. It's the anticipatory principle. And that is, a lot of what we get in the world, we get because we expect to get it. We're looking out for it, and we find it. This whole idea of what we anticipate, we get, is, I think, really powerful, because you know it. We get what we look out for. We get what we pay attention to. In other words, we become what we think about. Is another way of stating it. What we anticipate, we'll find. Our brain, for some reason, our brain is really good at sort of verifying or confirming what we believe. Our brain, in fact, our job, it's like this confirmation bias machine, right? There are people who might have diametrically opposite opinions, and each can find evidence to support those opinions, and even perhaps develop arguments that are convincing either way. It's just a lot of it has to do with the selection of evidence, your focus of attention. But this anticipatory principle basically talks about confirmation bias. If you anticipate a certain situation or something to happen, then your brain will ensure that it happens by focusing only on those aspects of how life unfolds. So that's also an important idea. So, and then the fifth principle is this positivity principle, and then that just is it just is the idea that a positive approach can have impact, and the more positive approach, the more powerful the impact, right? And also the more long lasting. Well, I guess what this principle talks about really is it just acknowledges the power of positivity, and how your impacts can be powerful with it. And it may not appear to be the most powerful technique to use positivity, but it's a way of getting people on board. It's a way of working hand in hand with people, shoulder to shoulder with people. People are idealistic. They have these grand ideas about cooperation and connection and mutuality and ethics, right? People want to be inspired. And I think inspiring people with positive intention is definitely the way to go. People want to work with ethical organizations. People want to feel proud of their own behavior, and they want to feel proud of their associations. They want to, in fact, I think that's one of the major sources of happiness. People feeling proud about their intelligence and their virtues that they exhibit. People want the rewards. They want the rewards, and they will act in virtuous ways to seek and gain those rewards. And I think it's important to work with that tendency and not against it. So anyway, those are the 5 principles of appreciative inquiry. And I'm really learning a lot about it, and it is changing the way I talk to myself and the way I talk to others. And it's great. There's in appreciative inquiry, there's this idea of generative thinking, and essentially this just means creativity. And if you ask the right questions, you can get answers that help you live a better life, right? It's all about the questions. And so anyway, I'm spending time using the Pomodoro technique asking open questions about the things that interest me, the things that I'm passionate about, the areas in which my personality is strong, what I enjoy and what I love about the world around me. These are generative questions, and my brain comes up with answers in response to these questions, and I make real, fundamentally good progress in reaching goals. And anyway, I'm really doing well as it relates to that. So, positive inquiry. All right. You might want to check it out. I sent you my last letter. I sent you the title of the book, the Appreciative Inquiry title, so you can spend some time, perhaps, reading up on the subject yourself. All right. Well, with that introduction, I think what I'll do is I will spend some time doing some question and answering. So the last question I asked and answered was number 253. What was your most and least preferred forms of exercise? I talked about the difference between group and individual exercise. Oh, I did 254. Here's 255. The question is, what's your choice? Jigsaw, crossword, or numeric puzzles? So for me, I like the jigsaw puzzles. I don't care for the crossword puzzles, and I don't care for the numeric puzzles. Now, I've given numeric puzzles a shot. Like, I remember when Sudoku became popular, and there was a time when Sudoku was not popular. There was a time when Sudoku didn't even exist, right? And so I lent my hand or give it a try, Sudoku a try, and let me tell you, I noticed what made it so addictive, but it wasn't something that drew me to it. So not into the numeric puzzles, like the code breaking puzzles that you can play in newspapers. Not into the word puzzles. These are like crosswords. Here's the problem with crosswords and me. I just have a hard time pinning down the word. There are a lot of people who are really good with language, and I am one of those people. But crosswords is not the way in which I'm good at language. That's not one of my strengths. Now, I like playing a lot of games related, word games, like, but I'm not necessarily the best at them, like assembling letters to create words. But I'm not too bad. I think my favorite puzzles are the jigsaw puzzles. What I like about jigsaw puzzles is that they are almost wordless. It's all about noticing shapes. And what I find when I do jigsaw puzzles is that it's almost a subconscious brain activity, which helps me put puzzle pieces together. It's almost like I'm not doing any work. My brain somehow is noticing the shape of the pieces, and it's matching that shape with the holes, say, in the completed puzzle. And I really don't have to think about it. I just sort of scan. I scan the pieces, I scan the puzzle, and I go back and forth, and somehow my brain puts it together. It's looking for patterns, right? It's very mechanical sort of game, right? It's pretty funny. Now, there are strategies to it, like you do the ring of the jigsaw puzzle first by finding the long edges, the long edge puzzle pieces, and then you sort by color. I'm sure there are other strategies out there that are really good that I don't know about. But here's the thing. Oh, I know your mom, Sheila, is really into jigsaw puzzles. She enjoys doing them. Um, I think I seem to remember she is highly skilled at jigsaw puzzles. She was always really good at it. It's kind of funny. It's funny how um, I'm not sure that there is really any game that I am best at. I'm just average at a lot of games and below average at even more. And that's okay. For me, playing games, it's just all about the fun, right? It's all about the fun. Now, do I have a jigsaw puzzle? I actually don't own any jigsaw puzzles right now. I'm not against owning jigsaw puzzles. I would be happy to own one, but I don't. For me, the game that I enjoy spending my pastime on is like the internet and computers and digital devices. And if I'm going to spend any time playing games, it might be a computer game, like a video game. I might play on my Game Boy and play Tetris. It's funny. It's just, for me, it's a way to blow off steam and a way to relax, and it's distracting, right? There's something that's almost superior about how Tetris can distract me from other ideas. It's such a it's just such a distracting game. It's engaging. It really it really focuses my attention. I have to Tetris in particular, when the stacks of blocks get really tall and you have very little time to react, that's when my attention is really focused. And I like the feel of it. I like the feel of focused attention. It feels good. I feel strong, effective. All right. What's the next question? Question number 256. What is your favorite bumper sticker or t-shirt slogan? Oh boy. Favorite bumper sticker or t-shirt slogan? Well, I think my favorite bumper sticker is the Coexist bumper sticker right now. It's been one of my favorites for a long time, where it takes the shapes of all the religious symbols and forms them into this word that says coexist. And I think it's great. One of the things about religion, I think one of the most obvious aspects of it is its focus on judgment, particularly moral judgment, right? And, as soon as you get into moral judgment, you start dividing the world into in groups and out groups. And so the conversation just goes into an us versus them almost immediately. It's very ancient thinking. It's very old style thinking. Completely ineffective. But it's, these religions really do need to step away from the moral judgments. They need to find other ways to explain what's going on in the world and to develop, to give meaning. The good-evil dichotomy is just boring now. Not only is it not accurate, it's so boring as to become a trope, right? And it's also completely needless. And it's so much better to think in terms of education and evidence, and not just evidence, but education and guidance, right? It's so much easier to focus on empathy and compassion and just altogether acts of kindness instead of focusing on judgment. And in fact, that's going to be the downfall of all these religions. Yeah, They're basically trading being right for being happy. Okay. Next question. Oh, t-shirt slogan. Favorite t-shirt slogan? I don't know. Favorite t-shirt slogan? I'm not sure I have one. Okay, next question. Question number 257. What's your favorite aroma or fragrance? Well, I love to smell things. That's not to say that my sense of smell is very good. In fact, my sense of smell is rather weak. It's probably one of my most weak senses. There's vision and hearing and touch and taste. I think smell for me is probably one of the least powerful or sensitive senses that I have. Now, oddly enough, it also might be the most, what I'd call, emotionally remembering. It might be the most powerful in the sense that it can take me back. Sometimes I will walk by a scent or a tree or something, and it'll take me back to an experience 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago that I had. So it's very, what I'd call sort of, oh man, I'm not even sure I can come up with a word, but it's, I guess it's powerful in the sense of helping me think about other things, new ideas, maybe. So my favorite fragrance, though, right now I've really been into the blue men's colognes, right? The ocean colognes, like the water colognes. They're often quite light. There are these colognes are colognes that can be worn during the daytime, during the spring and summer. I'm sort of getting away from the musky colognes. I'm not quite enjoying the musky or even the leathery colognes now. I'm enjoying the light, flowery fragrances that are fresh and like maybe even citrusy. Yeah. The water colognes. In fact, I've been enjoying Cool Water lately, which is a very old fragrance that I do enjoy. There are also a lot of blue variations on fragrance. Like there's like a CK blue, and there's I think there's a polo blue. Anyway, I've been enjoying those aquatic fragrances lately. In terms of men's cologne, now favorite aroma. Well, I really am enjoying the scent of coffee and cinnamon. In fact, baked goods. I've been baking a lot of cakes in my kitchen, and I've just been loving the way my home smells when I do baking. I think that is one of the major draws for me doing baking, is that I get have this amazingly good smelling house. There are other appealing things I like about baking. For example, I get to share the products of my work with other people, and that feels good. I like sort of the sympathetic joy of giving to other people. It means that I get to experience their joy. I get to experience the joy of making the cake and tasting the cake myself, but I also experience the joy of giving the cake away to others and even anticipating giving away the cake to others. And even after the event, I have the pleasure of remembering how I've given cake to others. So it's this powerful sort of reinforcing sequence of enjoyment and giving as it relates to baking. It's really a great experience. All right, question number 258. What's your favorite spectator sport, and how often do you watch it? Okay, so I really don't watch sports. I guess my favorite spectators, believe it or not, sports have changed a lot over the last 10, 20, 30 years. Watching sports today is a lot more enjoyable than it was even 20 years ago. And the reason has to do with the data, the graphics, the commentary. Nowadays, these television producers have gotten so good with their sportscasts that they really are able to play up the competition, the data, the strategy. They've got these amazing announcers that talk about the game who are, real players, real coaches who are taking you through the strategy, and they're really, these commentators are so knowledgeable, so deep. They can predict the plays before they happen on the field. I mean, they're so talented. The depth of investigative journalism in the sports subjects is just amazing. They're just really bringing to light a lot of subtle details about these sports like baseball or golf or football, basketball. I mean, they're building entire worlds around these sports teams and around these players. The and also the players now. The players are just basically becoming their own franchises, right? They've got they market colognes and music and clothes and tennis shoes and fast food and all kinds of amazing things. These people, these sports players are their own businesses. It, I mean, I guess it used to be like that a little bit, right? I can remember sporting people being on the cover of the Wheaties box, the Wheaties cereal box, right? But today it's just at a whole new level. So the amount of participation in the world of sports and the drama and the intelligence brought by commentators, also the various viewing angles that you have available on the football team. I remember watching football. It's basically one camera, one or two or three, maybe different camera positions. 10, 20 years ago watching football, they just had a few. Today, it's amazing. They've got all kinds of cameras that are everywhere. Every player's got a GoPro camera on their helmet, and the, the the camera, and also the resolution. I mean, half the time when I was watching football 20 years ago was trying to figure out, well, where's the ball? Where'd the ball go? With today's 4K television sets and HD TV streams, dang, you know where the ball is. And sometimes they've got artificial intelligence mapping the path of the ball, highlighting it, and the arc of the ball as it curves through space, as its travel, like its travel is curves through space. It's just amazing. It's watching sports today. I can see can be super duper addictive. I can see how it could just take over your life. It's so powerful, so fun, so deep and engaging. I mean, today you can talk to your favorite sports personalities because they're on Twitter. You can make a statement, and your favorite sports personality might respond to you on Twitter or Facebook. I mean, that level of interaction is unheard of. And so, yeah, I could totally be into watching sports, and I'm not at all. I don't have a television set, and that doesn't mean that I couldn't watch sports. There's a ton of streaming channels, lots of stuff on YouTube or live sports on Amazon, but most of the time I decide not to watch it. Sports is wonderful and engaging, but I am deciding to spend my time elsewhere. I'm just deciding to spend my time elsewhere, and I'm deciding it on purpose. I know. Why? Why am I deciding to spend it elsewhere? Well, while I know that sports can be a source of amazing value, I also believe, and I could be falsely believing this idea, that it may not be the most beneficial for my personal development and personal growth. I have a sense that it can be habit forming in a way that, I don't know, doesn't serve me. A lot of sports is sitting down and watching a screen. So what that means is I'd rather be out playing sports on a sports team, learning it with real people face to face, moving my body, learning how to move my body. And, I'd rather say play Frisbee with a friend than I would watch a football game. Even if the football game might be more compelling and engaging, and maybe I'll learn a lot of new things, facts about the world. I'd still rather play a game of Frisbee with a friend, because I think that is more holistic in terms of my personal development. And that's why, really. I think that in terms of my long-term self-interest, instead of spending money on a cable sports package, or spending money on a Raiders t-shirt or something, or a Dallas cowboy hat or baseball cap or something. I guess I wonder if there are Dallas Cowboy baseball caps. But instead of spending my money and time on memorabilia, you have to realize that this whole sporting world that people watch on TV and such, it's a world that's created by commerce, right? It's a world that's created by businesses, the NFL, an amazing organization. I'm sure they're just mind-blowing creativity and energy and power. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl, how it's not just a national, it's definitely a national event, but on some respects, it's a worldwide event. I'm very impressed by what they can pull off, and I'm sure there are amazing people at the core of it. But I got to ask myself, do I really want to spend my time doing that, right? I think I'd rather spend my time reading a book or something, or getting chores done around the house. It's a matter of my long-term self-interest and how those self-interests are served. The same is true with watching movies. I love watching movies, but movies can be really engaging, but I don't watch them all the time. For me, they are a special treat. And, I love Hollywood and all the intellectual properties, right? All the franchises, like the Star Wars franchise and all that good stuff, and Harry Potter franchise. I love all that stuff. And, I will engage in that moderately. I won't spend $1 billion on them, because they can be, I don't know. Speaking of Harry Potter, by the way, I have just begun to start listening to the audiobook, Jim Dale's version of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And I'm already on chapter 4 of chapter 5. And I'm really enjoying listening to that book. Every time I listen to J.K. Rowling's writing, I'm impressed with her skill as a writer. She's so good at describing this magical world of Harry Potter. And I'm just, I'm blown away by her skill, really. She really is an amazing writer. So glad she's writing so prolifically. I mean, golly, I'm already on the 4th book. I think there's like 6 or 7 books. So, and then there's more, right? There's more. There's Amazing Beasts and Where to Find Them or something like that. And there's even more than that. So I can't wait to get into those books. I will eventually get into those stories. I have to go through my Harry Potter phase first. I know, it's been 20 years. I think the first Harry Potter book came out like in 1999 or something like that. And it's 2019 now. I'm only 20 years behind the times. But I'm still engaging with Harry Potter and enjoying what's there. Even though J.K. Rowling's moved on. Maybe she hasn't moved on entirely. I wonder what her next book might be coming. What her next book might be. I don't know. I'm still enjoying her historical works of 20 years ago. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 259. What's one of your favorite summer activities to do with family or friends? Well, I think one of my favorite activities is camping. I love to camp. I also love to play Frisbee. I almost said that I like to hike. And, I'm not as enthusiastic about hiking as I used to be. So what the question was, what is one of your favorite activities to do with family and friends? You know what I've been enjoying lately? Going to amusement parks. Oh yeah. That sounds like fun to me. And it's a great way to spend the day with friends and family, hopping on the roller coasters and taking a thrill ride. Come on, what could be better than that? And in fact, I'm thinking about possibly going to Six Flags, not on Saturday, but probably on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the weather will turn out okay. Hey, Google, what's going to be the weather in Valencia, California on Sunday?
Sunday in Valencia, there will be showers with a high of 52 and a low of 36.
Ooh. No. Okay. Showers with high 52, a low of 36. 36. Oh. So I guess I'm not going to be going to Six Flags this Sunday. Darn. 52 is cold. Oh my gosh. Hey, Google, what's the temperature going to be in Hollywood, California this Sunday?
Sunday in Hollywood, expect a high of 52 and a low of 36.
Freezing cold. 52 is the high. Oh man. Maybe I won't be going to an amusement park this weekend. It's just so cold. How can you enjoy an amusement park when it's 40 degrees outside? Oh man. And when it's raining too. 40 and raining. Golly. Oh boy. Maybe I could do Hollywood. I could probably do Universal Studios maybe. It's been so cold lately. I've been struggling to go to amusement parks when it's so cold. We are in Southern California, man. Yeah, where's the sun? I want the sun, man. I want the sun. It is February, and we do have the polar vortex, the Arctic polar vortex, sort of a problem today, or this last week or two. So anyway, what is another one of my favorite activities to do with family or friends besides going to amusement parks? Well, one thing I like to do is I like to take photographs. That's one thing I like to do. Maybe what I could do is I can get out my old camera and take it along with me on a hike somewhere, and maybe I can go to the beach and enjoy some time away, taking some photographs this weekend. Maybe that's what I'll do. What's the warmest place that's fairly local? Hey Google, what's the temperature going to be on Sunday in Palm Springs, California?
In Palm Springs Sunday, expect a high of 61 and a low of 40.
Now we're talking. Maybe it's a Palm Springs weekend. 61. Now that is somewhat reasonable. Hey Google, what's the temperature going to be in San Diego on Sunday?
Sunday in San Diego, expect a high of 59 and a low of 46.
There's a possibility. So why don't I just drive down to San Diego? 5-hour drive. Hey Google, what's the distance between Lompoc, California and San Diego, California?
Lompoc is 272 miles away from San Diego by car.
Hey Google, divide 272 by 60.
The answer is approximately 4.533.
4.5 hours. So it's a 4.5 hour drive to San Diego. So as you can tell, I'm coming up with plans. I might have to drive to a warmer place. You know, I wonder what amusement park I could go to in San Diego. I could go to SeaWorld. 61 degrees is pretty reasonable for SeaWorld, I think. I could take my camera too, and I could do some photography. That would be neat. It's kind of funny how I've got to steal away to the south in order to get some warmer temperatures and enjoy my day. And let me tell you, 61 is not the warmest day ever either. But it's better than in the 40s and rain in Valencia, California, that's for sure. All right. Well, Emily, I am going to wrap up this presentation. As you can tell, I'm having too much fun. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're willing to stick around and enjoy me as I describe sort of my take on the world. Thank you for allowing me to talk a little bit about appreciative inquiry, which is my new interest lately. And I hope you enjoyed me relaying information about how I'm enjoying using my iPad Pro and Google Keep, and how I'm moving along on this journey of higher productivity and also fruit eating, refrigerated fruit eating. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day today. I hope that your day today at school is enlightening and satisfies your curiosity and helps you become more passionate and engaged and connected with the world. And I'm hopeful that my day can be more like that too. And hopefully I'll see you soon, maybe this weekend or maybe this coming Valentine's Day. By the way, the Lompoc Public Library has got an anti-Valentine's Day teen parade and our teen party, anti-Valentine's Day teen party going on Valentine's Day. And I'm thinking that could be fun to do. Let's consider that. Maybe I'll send you a text about it this weekend or talk to your mom about it this weekend and we can set it up. How does that sound? Anyway, I'll talk to you later, girl. I love you. Peace. This, by the way, is the sign of a heart. Do you see the two lobes of a Valentine heart? Love you, girl.